All right. So let's talk about the things that we can do with children and brainstorm all the cool things that are available. And we can make a delineation between what a grandparent can do versus all parents only. And okay, so this is the next step in the technology confirmation process. Will my other camera work? Okay, Lord. Oh my gosh, it does. Little victories. Okay, so children's policies. Children, chitlins. What can we do for kids? And one thing about the child market is that like when you think about when your kids were little, you would do anything for them, right? I mean, it's almost like like I say, you do anything for them. And this is another way for parents, grandparents to get their children or grandchildren a starter program. We used to use the term Head Start. People are familiar with Head Start and kids, but that's more of that college, getting underprivileged kids into college mode. You know what I mean? And but they hear that Head Start, and they're usually like, "I've heard of it." Well, Head Start's a way to get your children or your grandchildren an insurance policy they can have the rest of their lives, so they're not worried about paying for something that's super expensive when they're like 60, 70 years old. They need a final expense policy. Plus, there are some really cool things we could do as far as cash value, right? So what are, and then you can chat out me other things, but these are some of the things that I know about that you can do for children, starting off with just the basic whole life programs. So basic, like children's whole life. Okay. The ones that I'm familiar with is Forrester's, Bright Future. And then we got Mutual of Omaha's Children's Whole Life. Okay. So these are more getting that child that 10, 15,000. You can do a whole bunch of these for really cheap, $7. You can even go higher, right? Which I'd recommend. If you're gonna buy it on a child, you might as well max it out, in my opinion. Because by the time, maybe if they live till 65, 75, funerals are gonna be, might be $50,000 for a funeral, right? I mean, seriously, just, cost of inflation and the rising cost of things, like I remember I talked to a family that were just so mad because their child died in a car accident. He was 21, and all they had was a $5,000 Gerber policy 20 years ago, and no one had ever had her reevaluate her insurance needs on her child that became older. And 5,000, she was just really angry that no one had ever come to her, that agent or anyone, to help her upgrade her policy with their child. So 21 years later, 5,000 might have covered half a funeral 20 years ago. Now it's like barely covering the casket, right? So she was just really upset. And that always like sticks with me when I think about that family. Okay. So this is more of your whole life. Then if you want to start getting into UL, okay, where you can do some really cool things for kids on a UL, the ones that come to mind, and there's probably other ones that are kid-friendly. Forrester Smart UL is one that comes to mind. I'm not sure. Some of y'all pipe in at me. Mutual of Omaha, I don't know if you can do Index Universal Life Express that low. I mean, we can look at the product pocket guide, right? I don't know if you guys saw my comment on Facebook to someone who was asking advice. We used to have this thing called RTFM. You know how agents get lazy, they don't read the manual? So we have this terminology, RTFM. Read the manual. So now it's like, read the product pocket guide. So RTF PPG, product pocket guide, right? And so product pocket guide, let's look at simplified issue universal life. So we've got smart UL 0 to 75. And then we also have American Amicable Express UL age 15 to 75. So that's not as, wide open. So let's look at Simplify Index IUL Express goes from 18 to 70. Okay, again, I'm on my product pocket guide. Interesting. Okay. So really, as far as I can tell, the Forrester Smart UL is a good UL option for children, right? And then you can go kind of really, if you want to really create a great Head Start program, it's getting your child into an IUL or I don't know if you can do grandchild. I don't think you can do grandchild. I don't think you can do grandchildren on Forrester Smart UL. You have to be the parent, I believe, as the owner. Well, that's probably, I'd have to check on that. IUL. So this is a product I'm not familiar with. So was it F&G? Karen, I just forgot. Was it F&G? Was it F&G Life or Mutual of Omaha?
These IULs were F&G.
Oh, okay. So they have a thing called a children's IUL?
No, it's the Path Setter IUL.
Okay.
Be written down to 2 weeks old.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so you're using an IUL for a child that you can build some really strong cash values, depending on how much, what's the minimum face value for a child on this for someone younger?
I think it's 50.
50. Okay, and this is, if I were going to do an IUL on a child, I don't care if it's lower. I would choose 50 easily. So let's go with the regular Index Universal Life, fully underwritten Index Universal Life. So Path Setter goes from age 0 to 80, 50,000 minimum. Okay.
NLG also does children's.
Yeah, NLG, Flex Life is 0 to 85. Columbus. Whoa. I don't know about Columbus Life because it doesn't have it in the product pocket guide. Can someone look that up? I don't know if they're age 0. I did that IUL shootout. I should know that. I know I can look it up in our application. Columbus Life, like I'm telling you, man, they have the least cost IUL by far. F&G and NLG, their cost structure is so expensive on the client that their cash values get sucked down by their cost. Columbus Life is the best one, absolutely by far. And I proved it on our conference call last week. Well, it got botched up, but I redid that in my video that goes into it. Like, hands down, no question, 0 on wondering which one's the best for the client as far as cash value. Okay, so let's go product guide.
Looks like 18 or 20 is their starting age on most of them.
Okay, I got their index. That sounds probably right. Oh, well, actually, it says underwriting class juvenile 0 to 19, minimum specified amount 25,000. So that you can do this on a child. Can you imagine with the larger cash values that you can write? Now, see, again, F&G Life has the advantage because you can illustrate it at 7.1, 7.3%, where I think the max on Columbus Life is 5.73%, But if you did an apples to apples comparison and brought F&G down to 5.73%, far and away, without question, Columbus Life will beat the crap out of NLG and F&G. I mean, pure and simple, man. So let's put Columbus Life Insurance. Is that Explorer? I think it's Explorer. Expedition. No, that's not Expedition. Indexed Explorer.
Alex, on the Foresters, you can do grandparents can buy with no parent's signature
On Smart UL?
on the
Bright
plan, the
Future.
Bright Future.
Yeah, I'm not sure they can do that on Smart UL.
Right, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
And I would also encourage people to look at their state qualifiers on that Bright Future, because I can't write it in Indiana.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, dude.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay. And, you know, of course we have, we can do NLG, National Life Group. Okay, Flex Life, or some of the other ones. Okay. Okay, so these are really the opportunities that we have to cover children, depending on how much the client can put into it. And, you know, we can run the rates. It's not so much becomes a rate issue because they're children. So they're going to be the cheapest you could ever get anywhere. And if there's any differences, it's because the face value or the type of universal life. So the whole life is really designed more as a guaranteed interest rate that will grow. It's not really meant for a lot of cash value, but it's going to be there, you know, till they're age 100. That's the nature of whole life. It's designed to endow at age 100, going back to your, your insurance class, right? That's how whole life is built, so that it'll have, like you offer 25,000, the client lives to age 100, the value of the cash in it will be 25,000, where then they get paid 25,000, boom, they got it, okay? And so it's designed to be guaranteed. So whatever happens, there's no fluctuation worry when it comes to interest rates for these two products for children's whole life. So that's why they tend to be lower face values. So let's look at the face value on the product pocket guide. I love the product pocket guide, if you can't tell. RTF PPG. Okay, so whole life. Oh, there's a special category. Children's whole life. Of course. So there's the category of children's whole life. So you got Mutual Home Loss, Children's Whole Life, Foresters Bright Future. Something we failed to add, you know, we talked about you can do Smart UL. Hold on, let me look. Age 0. So I don't know why they're not putting it Forester Smart UL, and then you can do Forester's Advantage Plus whole life. Okay. And which is more of a whole life product. You know, that's age 0. The face value starts at 25K to 250K, right? So let's go back to children's whole life, 50 to, whoops, 5,000 to 50 to 50,000. Then Forster's Bright Future is 5,000 to 75. Okay, which I would lean towards as much as they can afford on the children's side. Pass setter. So let's go to 50,000 on up. You can write a lot on that. It's Columbus Life. Let me bring up Columbus Life. Yeah, this one, Columbus Life, 25K. This is like similar pass setter on up, do $1 million. Okay. So what are we going to do? We were going to, oh, I don't have that app installed. Well, this is probably, so I was going to run illustrations on each one of these to show you the possibilities and how powerful, if you're looking for cash and how much, it's not that expensive when you think about it, okay, how much they want to do for their kid. So I don't got the time to do that now. Maybe we'll do it Thursday on our sales call to show you each one of these options and then what, so you got from low to high. Do you want to just give your child a Head Start program at $25,000? They can have the rest of their lives, right? And with some of these whole lives, you can do like 7 pay, I believe. You can like get them paid off early. They could have that policy for the rest of their life. And then you got the UL and IUL within, allows you to put more cash into it and gross cash value, okay, that they can borrow against, right? So there's a lot of opportunity there. Be careful when you hear people saying, write an IUL on your child so they can have money for college. Wrong. Man, you can't put enough in an IUL for them to have enough money for college. So let me ask you, who would be the best person to write an IUL on for money for college? Drum roll, please. The parent. The parent, right? The parent. That's the best person to be able to do that for. So anyway, so these are the options you have for children. And this is a great opportunity to suggest maybe on the second call when you deliver the policy, hey, have you thought about getting your grandchild or your child on a Head Start program? Well, what's that? Well, as a matter of fact, I ran some illustrations. Let me show you what you can do. For $50 a month, your child could have $750,000 by the time they're age 65. What do you mean? $50 a month, 750,000? Yeah, let me show you. Let me show you. This is what I worked up for you. Is that cool? There's a lot of things that you can do. It's another marketing opportunity to get yourself in the door and get yourself further entrenched in that client's situation, right? And if they didn't do anything when you deliver the policy, guess what? You put your client in your rapid funnel, and then you put them on a text campaign and an email campaign. Hey, have you thought about that program I talked to you about? Hey, give me a call. I was thinking about you. You can put them on this, and that's how you, again, remember I said follow-up is the key last time, especially when you're doing telesales. Can you imagine, Fernando, if you put people in rapid funnel where you're constantly touching them if you didn't close, and eventually they keep checking your texts and emails, dude, you're going to make sales because you kept these people kicking the can down the road. They're still thinking about you. And how many people don't make a decision the first time? There are some people that need to see it 3 times, 5 times, 7 times before they say yes. And it's not because you're badgering them, right? There's some people that they're just like, stop, okay, stop already. But you're going to find the people that will be there with you. They just hadn't, you know how that is. You are like that too. I'm like that. Don't make a decision right away. I'm going to make a decision later because I got these other things going on. But because you kept your name in front of them, you're the first person they call. Another agent calls them. It's like, well, Fernando just texted me the other day. I'm going to call Fernando back, right? How many of those people you've lost because you had no follow-up at all, but another agent? How do I know this? Because it's happened to you. You've called clients, say, well, I was working with an agent, but that was like, I never heard from them. So tell me what you got. So that is real thing, man. Anyway, gang, rock on. Appreciate you. Man, we got 35 people. Can you do one app this week? Can you write one app? Write it on yourself. Write it on your child. I just showed you some great options for your kids. Man, you should take care of your kids, man. Get them on a Head Start program. It applies to every single one of you. I don't care if your kid's 25 years old. Let's talk to them about doing an IUL, right? Seriously, if you're convinced in this opportunity,